Today, we are jumping into one of the most profound philosophical conversations in all of human history, the Bhagavad Gita. And what's so wild about it is that it doesn't start in some quiet classroom or a peaceful temple. Nope. It begins on the very brink of a catastrophic war, born from one single moment of just devastating crisis. These four words stop everything dead in its tracks. They're spoken by the hero of the story, the greatest warrior of his age, Arjuna, right as the battle is about to start. This absolute refusal to fight, this complete breakdown, well, that's what kicks off the entire conversation. It sets up the ultimate dilemma. What do you do when your sacred duty feels like the most horrible sin imaginable? Now, you can imagine a text that's been passed down for thousands of years is going to have a lot of different versions. So for our explainer here, we're leaning on the absolutely monumental work of the Bhagavad Oriental Research Institute. These scholars took on this massive project, sifting through countless manuscripts to piece together the most authentic version of this epic, giving us the clearest possible window into its ancient wisdom. Okay, so to really get the Gita, we first need to understand where it comes from. It doesn't just appear out of thin air, you know? It's actually a key scene inside a much, much bigger story. The Gita is basically one very famous chapter tucked inside the Mahabharata, which is one of the longest epic poems ever written. Seriously, it's huge. The whole epic tells the story of this massive war for a kingdom between two sides of the same family, the Pandavas, that's Arjuna's side, and their cousins, the Kauravas. All right, so let's zoom in from that giant epic scale right down to the super personal crisis that's happening inside one man's chariot. Because this is where the real story begins. Picture this. The armies are lined up, ready for war on the field of Kurukshetra. The horns have been blown, the air is thick with tension. And right at this critical moment, Arjuna makes a strange request. He asks his charioteer, who by the way is actually the divine Lord Krishna in human form, to drive him into the no man's land between the two armies, just so he can get a good look at who he's about to fight. And what he sees, it just breaks him. He's not looking at some faceless enemy. He's looking at his family. He sees Bhishma, his great-grandfather, the man who practically raised him. He sees Drona, his revered teacher, the one who taught him everything he knows about archery. He sees uncles, cousins, friends. This isn't just a war, it's a family reunion turned into a bloodbath. The effect is immediate and it's physical. Arjuna, this legendary warrior, literally starts to fall apart. The text describes it so vividly. He says the sight of his own people, ready to kill each other, makes his legs go weak and his mouth feel like it's full of sand. And the symbolism here is just so powerful. The Gandiva is his legendary bow. It's a gift from the gods. It's practically a part of him. For that to slip from his hand, it means his entire identity, his whole purpose is collapsing. He can't even stand up straight. His mind is just spinning out of control. And this right here shows you how deep the crisis goes. This isn't just fear. It's a complete moral and philosophical collapse. See, as a warrior, his sacred duty, his dharma, is to fight for what's right. But now he's asking, what's the point of winning a kingdom if you have to kill everyone you love to get it? So at this moment of total breakdown, Krishna drops the charioteer act and reveals his divine wisdom. And his response is not a pep talk. It's not a, come on, you can do it speech. Instead, with this incredible calm, he completely changes the subject to the nature of reality itself. Wow, I mean, what an opening line. He doesn't coddle Arjuna. He challenges the very root of his sorrow. He's basically saying, Arjuna, you're crying about the wrong things. Your grief is based on a misunderstanding of what's real, because the wise, they don't grieve for what comes and goes. Krishna then breaks it down for him. He explains this fundamental difference that is the key to everything. He says we're dealing with two things, the unreal and the real. The unreal is everything that changes. Our bodies, our feelings, the physical world, it's all temporary. But the real, that's the self inside, the Atman. It was never born and it can never die. It's the silent, unchanging witness to everything else. And to make this super clear, Krishna uses this brilliant, simple analogy. He says the body is just a set of clothes. When your clothes get old and worn out, what do? You take them off and put on a new pair. The person wearing the clothes doesn't change. In the same way, the self just changes bodies. Death isn't the end, it's just a change of wardrobe. Krishna then describes the nature of this true self, and you can just feel the power in the words. It's completely beyond harm. Swords can't cut it, fire can't burn it, water can't make it wet, and wind can't dry it. The message to Arjuna is so clear. In this battle, you might destroy bodies, but you cannot possibly harm what is truly real.
Okay, so if the self is eternal and can't be touched, how are we supposed to live? How does this profound idea actually change what we do every day? Well, Krishna explains that there are two main paths, or yogas, for living this truth.
And first, a quick definition. When the Gita says yoga, it's not really talking about the physical poses we might think of. Here it means a path or a discipline. It's a way to yoke, or unite, your own consciousness with that ultimate eternal reality. So Krishna lays out these two main paths, and they're kind of tailored for different personalities. First, there's Gnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. This is for the thinkers, the contemplatives. But for people of action, people like Arjuna who are out there in the world doing things, there's Karma Yoga, the path of action. And this is the game-changing idea at the very heart of the Gita. Krishna says that action itself isn't the problem. What traps us, what causes all our suffering, isn't what we do. It's our ego's desperate need to control the results of what we do. It's that craving for praise, that fear of failure. The secret, he says, is to do your duty, to act with everything you've got, but to mentally give up any claim to the outcome. You have a right to your work, but not to the fruits of your work. So let's tie this all together, shall we? Krishna's core message is a direct response to Arjuna's despair. He's teaching him that our true self is forever, so the death of the body isn't the ultimate tragedy it seems to be. And knowing this, knowing the difference between what's real and what's not, lets you act in the world without being crippled by grief or selfish desires. You can do it either through quiet contemplation or, like Arjuna, through selfless action. And this leaves us with a huge, kind of mind-bending question to chew on, one that gets right to the heart of the Gita's philosophy. If our true self is this unchanging, eternal witness that doesn't really do anything, then what's the point of all our actions? Why fight a war or build a house or create art? What is the ultimate meaning of anything we do in this temporary world? And that's the puzzle the rest of the Gita sets out to solve.